sharpen this knife right here. Hello, and welcome to the stream. My name is Michael V. I'm going to paint this dude's face. But first, draw it out. Decided I'm gonna try something different in art that I could probably already do, and I just haven't really tried it yet. Is those little character drawings, you know, that you see at the... Whoa, what the hell? What was that noise? Did I unplug something? Did something get unplugged? This camera? Oh, this camera got unplugged. How the hell? What the... That's weird. My camera just stops working. Alright, technical difficulties. Let's see, deactivate. Wow. It's not working. I don't know. That was weird. I don't know why I did that. Okay. Ghost in the machine. I'm still here. Okay, good. Good. Thank you for letting me know. Thanks for that. It goes on. crazy how this sketch is not coming out like either of the other sketches. I need to like get his face a little longer right here. But I didn't start the sketch in the same way either, so I started with the shape of his face first, but it'll get there. It's just the sketch. Once I start painting it, it'll look more like him. But I'm just trying to get all the placement of stuff first, like where the lines match up. So when you paint a face, or when you draw a face, you want all that shit to line up, like the corner of the mouth with the middle of the eye, the top of the ear with like the top of the bottom of the brow, that kind of shit. You just gotta make sure it all matches up. Everything's symmetrical. But there's definitely something he's got more of a long face. Like, see how in this sketch, his face is a little longer. But it's like he has many faces. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Sometimes it never looks like the person until you put hair on them. That's a weird one. See, his forehead is bigger. Is it like this? I might have made his nose a little too high, actually. I think I need to make it a little lower. Right here. That's what the sketch is for. So we can get through that. He's got those really dark eyebrows. Kind of makes him unique. Yeah, it does. I think you're right. I'm gonna add a layer of color now. Let's see. Where's my paint at? Where's all my paints? Where's all my paints? Yeah, I feel like his eyes are too far apart. Yeah, did the same thing I did last time. Alright. I'm not gonna fuck with it too much. I'm just gonna put some paint on it. Get this first layer on here. First layer of paint on there. who that is. Beauty who? I don't know who that is. On and on and on. Yeah, it helps. Those little reference points. It really helps. On and on and on. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take a brush like that size right there. And we're gonna take a gang load of white paint. And we're gonna dump it. We're gonna dump it in this thing. We're gonna put it right here. As that dries, the drawing will come through a little bit better. But we don't need it dark, we just need an outline basically. I think I put too much. Not too much. I put too much time into that sketch. I didn't need to. So now we're just gonna drink coffee and roll a joint. Hi, Mouse by the Sea. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, you can't? What? Tuesday. Okay. Tuesday. Oh, I got weed on the painting. Damn it. It's almost dry. Acrylics dry fast. I need to adjust this camera real quick. Autofocus. My autofocus is on. That's why. Alright, here we go. He's got a mushroom on his head. that's not phalo, that's primary. Oh, what? It's a huge tube, where is it? Oh shit, where did I go? Where the fuck did my phalo blue go? Aha! It was hiding. It was hiding. Thanks, Mouse. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry, I wasn't more talkative. I love you, Mouse by the sea. Bueno, 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 bueno. Alright, I'm gonna let this dry. Gonna let this dry for a minute while I smoke this joint. Hello, my name is Michael V, and I play music and paint every day on Twitch. You can find me on all the platforms. Every morning, I put coffee in my hole. Sometimes we listen to this dude's podcast. And sometimes I just look for new music. I stream for like 10 hours a day, at least. At different times during the day. I'm usually on in the middle of the night, listening to podcasts or painting or doing something. You can find me live all the time. You can support the live streams if you find it entertaining. There are ways to support the streams. You can buy merch. You can just share the stream out to somebody. There's so many ways to share without, or to support without money. Like anybody, when you go see anybody or meet anybody online that you really like, you can share their art, you can share their music into your stories, into your profiles. You can screenshot stuff and share that. You can share the address of my stream in a private message with somebody. You can just share some of my art and tell people who made it. You know, I have like so much content on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all the places. Painting videos and talking about art and painting and stuff here on this channel. New phone. Oh, you're getting a new phone? That's cool. This is acrylic paints. I use Liquitex paints. I really like Liquitex. Works really well. So before I started painting this, I sketched it out twice. And this was the third time I sketched it out. I sketched it on this thing. I did that sketch. This is the first sketch. I didn't really like it. It felt like it was too short. Like his face was too short. And then I made it a little longer. And I was like, his forehead's a little too big. But a little more accurate. And then now this is the third sketch. But we're adding paint. So there you go. If you want to stick around to the end or fast forward, you can see the end. Ooh, get some paints. Oh, yeah. Get some paints. Start painting some stuff. What's that? Triple Quiz 69. Thanks for the follow on Twitch. Making my little dance. Thanks for that. Thanks for the follow. Hopefully you come back and enjoy the stream again. Are you an artist? Do you paint? The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with some white now and then get all this detailed stuff, like the top of his lip, the white on the, not detailed, but like just highlight everything more. Put more white right here and here and up here and here on his chin, the top of his lip, the bottom lip, define that some more. So I'm just gonna go on and put white everywhere around his eyes, and then I'm gonna let that dry. And then after that, I'm gonna go back in with I'll probably do a wash of like yellow or something, and then go back on with white again, and then use this dark blue to start putting all the dark areas, all the details again. So just that process, sketch it, put all red on it or pink or whatever, and then put white on it, and then add dark to the details, and then let that dry, and then come back, add more white, let that dry, and then add a wash of yellow over the whole thing, and that'll turn this orange, and that'll make his face a little more flesh colored. And then and then more white in all the highlighted areas, and then more dark stuff in all the darkened areas, and then I'll probably do one more wash, probably pink, on the top of that, and then another layer of white. So just keep layering it up. And before you know it, it'll be done. These little canvases are good for just faces. Thanks for the follow. By my little brush. So I'm going to take a little brush like this, and I'm just going to go in with white. I got my reference photo over here, so I'm looking at my reference photo too. I got it right here, just looking at it at the same time. It's when you paint in this way, like indirectly, like I'm doing, it leaves a lot of room for mistakes, and sloppiness. So if you don't mind being real loose and sloppy and not a perfectionist, you can make it look pretty cool, I think. And by like the pass of layers as you keep going, you can correct stuff along the way. You're like, oh, I'll just fix that next time, on the next pass, on the next, so it's like you're slowly working on the whole thing as a sculpture, not trying to like painstakingly get every detail right. It's just like a whoosh, it's real loose. Because I'm a sloppy painter. I'm just sloppy as fuck. I feel like this way anybody can paint like this. You just make sure you follow a couple rules, or not rules, but just a guideline kind of for the painting. It helps to just know what you're gonna do. You're like, this is how I'm doing it. This is the process, and you just do it. And you can talk, and you can think about other shit. You're not like, I don't know what I'm doing. Something. The more you do it, the more you're like, oh, okay, all I do is these steps, and then it gets there. All you gotta do is just take the time to do the steps. That's it. You just gotta do the work. If you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure. But if you figure out a process, and then you just keep repeating yourself, you could do it with anything, and like writing songs, or just however you create. If you figure that out, your process for that, and it's just work. You can go to work, get shit done. You're just gonna figure out the process. I've seen that quote somewhere where it says just trust the process or something, but I don't really believe that. I think it's more about just learn it and then just let go. That's what I feel like it. Just learn it and let it go. And then just do it. Just don't even try to think about what you're doing too much. Like, my favorite part about doing reference photos that I didn't even realize at first, but I did later on, was it reminds me of you remember those books you used to see in like the doctor's office for kids and shit, the Highlight magazine? Remember that back part where you had to like compare the two pictures and try to figure out which one was different than the other, try to find all the little details that were different. I used to love that, man. That was like my favorite part. I never even read that book. I never even read that magazine. I would just pick that up and be like, oh, this part. And oops. Look, if you make a mistake like that, that's not really a mistake, but and it's still wet, you just take a wet brush and go like that. Erase. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the Highlight magazine. Dude, I mean, so that's what like reference photo painting is. That's basically it. You're just looking back and forth. I'm just looking at this, and then I'm looking at this, looking at this, looking at this. What's different? What's the same? 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 What's different? That's all I'm doing. I'm just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with my eyes, and I'm creating the other image. And it's just like that. It's just like that. It's just like that. That was my favorite. I loved those. See, and I'm not like too concerned about detail right now. I'm just trying to get the basic shapes. Like, I think if you just focus on the shapes more than the details, then you can just do that detail stuff at the end. And a lot of times the detail stuff will just pop out as you're doing it. Like, or just work on the shapes. I learned that from that book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. Like, you don't look at the image, like, you look at the empty space, you look at the negative space, you look at this. Don't look at the lines, look at the space in between the lines and paint that. Like, try painting a whole painting without doing like any lines. Just paint color up to color. That's a really good practice to get that down. It's just color up against color, no lines. It helps you loosen up into like not having to be so strict with your lines. Like, everything has to be a perfect edge. The world is not a perfect edge. Like, trees aren't fucking perfect. People's faces aren't perfect edges. What the hell? We're not machines. We're just people with weird bumpy edges. We're not, like, perfectionism is just, it's just an observation. It's just a not observation, but it's like your opinion. But trying to perfect something is good, because then you get better at it. You're like, oh, this is not good. I gotta do it again. Like how I did 3 sketches before I did this. You could call that perfectionism or just getting it right. Just get it right. paint Duncan Trussell's face again. I painted him 3 times. I think I need to paint him one more time. In the same way. We'll listen to Duncan Trussell and paint him. Because, like, whenever I listen to his podcast, I feel a little guilty for not joining his Patreon. But, you know, like, I can't afford that shit. But I can afford to paint these fuckers' faces. So, if I could send this to these guys, if I could give this to these dudes, then that's my tip. That's it. I appreciate what they put out in this world. I just can't afford to tip them or support them in any other way. Like this guy, I'm always watching everything and sharing it. It reminds me of me when I was that age. A lot. Except I wasn't as vocal. On and on and on and on. On and on and on. It goes on and on and on. It all just comes together eventually. Alright, we're gonna let that dry. Oh wait, and then I need to fix this eye. This eye looks funky. So I need to, I'll probably go back in with some blue right here and darken up a bunch of the blue. And then do the wash of yellow. I said I was going to do the yellow next, but I think I'm just going to do some more details. The blue. Try not to use black. I used to always use black. But now I only use black when I do cartoon characters. I feel like, or when I do the pupil of an eye. Like if you did this whole painting without using black, and then you just use black for the pupil of the eye, it looks so realistic. I don't know what that's about. Good. These are refreshing. You like that part too? Best tip ever. I don't think we should, you don't need to worry about trying to make it perfect. Especially if you're just starting. Like, you're just starting to paint shit. Don't worry about it being fucked up. The one thing I learned about painting through playing guitar was repetition. Because you don't sound good the first time you play that chord, You gotta practice it. And I think a lot of people, expect their paintings to be, perfect the first time out or some shit. You're like, what? You have to get there. You can't just expect yourself to be all that badass, But the thing is that sometimes people fool themselves because they get in the flow and they paint something they're super passionate about, and then it just comes out amazing, and they're like, how did I do that? And then they think they could do it every time. And some people do that, but I've seen a lot of artists struggle with that. They're like, oh my god, I did this amazing painting in the past, how come I can't do it again? And then they get artist block. That's what they call it, artist block. But the thing is you just gotta fucking practice. You can't write a perfect song every fucking time you write a song. You gotta write 10 shitty songs before you get to one good one. Sometimes. So that's what music has taught me about art, is that you can't just expect it to be perfect the first fucking time. It's gonna take a minute. See, that's what happens right there. All that blending and shit. When you don't wait for the paint to dry. So if I would have waited for the paint to dry right here, then it would have been more like that. But that, I mean, it's not a mistake, but I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want this blue to blend into the white at all. So I'm going to let it dry. And then I'll go finish it. I jumped the gun. I always do that shit. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta just fix it real quick. And then it's when I overthink. I'm like, oh, I need to fix this. Instead of just going with it. I was like, oh, let me just, hold on. And then I did that. I gave him a black eye. Look. But, I need that to dry, and then I can, wait, what can I do that's dry right now? Let's see. I could, add more blue here into his hair. I could give him more hair. That's the other thing too. Like if you're pressed for time, if you're trying to if you can't wait, like try to just work on the painting in sections so that you have other shit to work on while some stuff is drying. So like you're like, oh, I'll do the hair while the face is drying, like I'm doing right now. Or I'll work on his t-shirt. Like that's a good way to like move around the painting, you know, like okay, so this is all needing to dry, so I'm just gonna work on his t-shirt for a minute, you know, and then I'll get back to that, and then this will be done. So when you work in just layers of color like this, it's kind of like developing a photo where you get like this full spectrum of color. It's pretty cool. And you only use like primary colors, and you get all this like rainbowy spectrum of light. It's pretty cool. So I left this part at the top right here kind of pink because his face has white paint on it right here, and it ends like right here. So I'm just gonna kind of keep this pink so that when I add that layer of yellow, it'll just make all that like flesh tone. This will be all fleshy. So after this dries, I'm gonna add white right here and just kind of bring that back up. Instant perfection. Yes, Dakota. For such a young being, he's got a very natural grasp of human potential and consciousness. Yeah, it seems like he's probably some motherfucker reincarnated, huh? Or he just tapped into it early, you know, like, it's all about your interest. If you're interested, then you'll go after it, you know? Like, all this shit is accessible to anybody, you know? Just which traumas, you know, pushed you into it. I think a lot of us find spirituality through escapism. That's my theory, is that a lot of us are trying to escape the world that we live in right now, so we seek out deeper meanings. And that's what opens up the doorway to like that kind of shit. And you find truths in it. You know what I mean? You find some deep thinking shit. But like the person who's like working hard, like, you know, and in the fields and shit, and like, you know, like it's a certain kind of person to be a philosopher, you know, a certain kind of person who thinks about these things, you know, someone who has the ability to do what they need to do when they need to do it. Like, it's not someone who's struggling through life trying to get shit done and feed their kids and family. It's like the guy who has extra time kicking it in a hammock and painting pictures, who's gonna think about these things, you know what I mean? So like he just pursued it. He just put himself in the path of it. He went for the vacation that didn't end. He like was interested in things and like pursued them. Like the only difference between him and maybe somebody else who's not living an extraordinary life that they feel like they might be missing out on or something is that he didn't say no. He said yes. That's it, the only difference. He was like, he put himself in the path of that shit and said yes and went for it. Like, because, I mean, he could have just turned out like everybody else. I was watching this podcast where he was like, yeah, I was selling drugs in Detroit, and, like, I had to do what I had to do to get by. You know, I was a kid, and I got busted. He got, like, totally busted, and he was talking about How he got in, was in court and shit, and like the guy right before him went to jail for a long time and had something less than him, but because he was white, he got off with probation. That was his story. He's like, it's fucked up, but he was grateful, but at the same time, it's like the dude before you just had a joint and went to jail for how long? Because he was black, and then he was right after him, a young juvenile, and he was selling drugs and got probation. Yeah, it's fucked up. But anyways, so like he just pursued it. He noticed things, and and like followed his bliss. And I think that's the difference between a lot of people is they just don't follow that. They don't follow their gut feeling, their bliss. They're, they go for security, they go for comfort, they go for like something else. They don't go, oh, I should do this because it's gonna bring me some kind of something. But I mean, it is what it is. It's like whatever you do focus on and pursue, that's gonna be your life, and that's gonna define what it is you do. There's no bad choice. You know what I mean? It's just that he pursued his interests. That's it. Like, I don't think he's any more advanced than anybody else. I don't think he has any more insight than anyone else. He just pursued his interests. That's it. Same thing with any artist, musician, anybody creative. They pursued their interests. They wanted to see where it would go. They're like, I have a little something. Let's see if I can take it somewhere. That's it. Like if you were just interested in something, a hobby, it could lead you to another hobby, but like if you just follow your interest, it could lead from one thing to another. Like you end up in fucking India or some shit because you read the Ram Dass, like, and then you turn into a YouTube channel that becomes super famous. Like, so it's whatever you're putting in your path and you're focusing on all the time, every day, like I get certain insights to art because I'm doing it every single day, but I wouldn't get those insights if I wasn't doing it every day. That's like part of it. So it's like with anything, like if I was gardening every day, I'd probably think of better ways to garden. I could probably have some shit figured out about agriculture or something, but I'm figuring out art stuff. That's what I'm doing. So. Sounds like people on the porch. But yeah, there's look at that ear. That ear's not that high, is it? It's a little higher than that. It kind of goes up here, and then this hair comes like in front of it like this. Whoop, maybe too much. And then kind of over the top a little bit. Look at that Eddie Munster. I just made him Eddie Munster. Holy shit. Sorry, bro. I Eddie Munstered you. I'll fix it. I'll fix your Eddie Munster haircut. Thanks, Josh. You're awesome. Alright, so maybe I do want to blend some blue down here like this, because he's got a shadow. He's got this narrow face. Somebody was saying he kind of looks like Loki, or he was saying he kind of looks like Loki. I was like, does he? Kind of? I guess so. I think that's why he took this picture, because he's like, I look like Loki right here. No, I don't know. What happened? whatever. Do. I would love to hear his insight on fear and what he's learned up to now. I bet he's learned some stuff regarding that obstacle. Have you seen his documentary thing he just put out? Did you watch it yet? About the Dakini or whatever they were called? I forgot what they were called already. It's like a Star Trek thing. About those gurus who just like sit on top of dead bodies and shit. Did you watch that? Oh my god. Look at this is the other reference photo I want to paint of him. This is from that documentary. He's like holding a human fucking skull. Look at that. But yeah, it's on YouTube. It's like a little mini documentary he made about these, and it's just, that's the fear, man. That's, you want to hear about his take on that? There you go. Go watch that. It's intense. Holy shit. Not yet? Man. There's some weird shit in there. I just have to say that. But it's good. It's good. I heard of those guys before, but I never really, I didn't get that that's what they did. Like, I didn't know that that's what the whole thing was. I was like, holy shit. Thanks, Captain Squish. Welcome back. I think I need to let it dry for like a little longer than I have been, because it's starting to, what happens if you don't let it dry long enough is look at, I made his hair too big over here. It starts to let's cut that back like right there. It starts to pull the paint off, and you're like, I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna take a break and smoke some weed and listen to some music. Maybe sketch out another face that I'm gonna draw first, and then paint out. I have a picture, couple reference photos in here. Who else did I want to paint? Oh, I got this nice elephant in here. Oh, little dragon. Little dragon. I want to paint little dragon. Look at her. She's badass. Just her headshot. So I'll be back to finish this guy on YouTube. I'll do the other half on YouTube. But I'm going to be on Twitch right now. If you guys want to come over to Twitch, I'll be right there. But I'm going to turn off YouTube right now. I was documenting the occasion. But now it's over. So come over to Twitch. If you're on Twitch, stay there.